Yeah, Joey, some of the, on offense, a lot of the, like the big voices of last season are gone. They were pro day yesterday. Is there a developmental thing with Nico that he needs to move forward with a louder voice, bigger part of the culture?
100%. That's been a big part of what we talked about too. Is everybody knows what he is as a player, as an athlete on the field. You know, he's an elite player, but the challenge this year has been, okay, you have that, we know about that. Like, let's take the step off the field. You're the one that's going to have to be the uniting voice with no Cooper Mays, with no Dylan Sampson, with no Brew McCoy in the building anymore. You know, a guy like him can step in and really take it over and lead it his way. Like, you can't be fake, you can't be something you're not, but you do have to be willing to step out, step in front of the team, and address guys and clean things up, when, especially when they're not right.
What's the biggest jump that Jake has made there, and just how much more confident you guys feel in him to run this offense than maybe a year ago?
Yeah, first of all, going through your first spring as a freshman, your first fall camp as a freshman, you're drinking from a fire hose right from the rip. So he has a different feel about him out on the field. He's not pressing, he's calm. You can see it in the pocket. When your feet are calm, your eyes are calm in the pocket, you can drive the ball all over the field. And he's had a really good start to camp here. Really happy with where he's at. He's really focused on cleaning up his fundamentals. And all that's translated to pretty high quarterback play out on the field right now.
Ryan, then Eric.
Start comments. What did you like about him that you went bringing in? How's he been running that group?
Yeah, physical runner, tons of experience. You know, we were young, we went from being old in that room to young in that room. Guys without a ton of game experience. He's got a bunch of that. He's played at a high level in a big conference. So he's a guy that comes in. He's not going to step into any moment that feels too big for him. He's got a skill set that goes and translates to the SEC, and he's a real solid pickup for us.
Matt, with Nico, to the leadership aspect, you know, Cooper, Dylan, Brew, that's what I'm talking last year. Was there ever a point in time, him being the quarterback last year, that he took control? Did you see any?
Absolutely. Yeah, he's never scared of the spotlight. He's not scared to step out. It's just not his natural personality to be boisterous and jump out in front of a room, especially when you've got guys that he respected in that position. You know, there's no need to talk over a Dylan Sampson, a Cooper Mays, or Brew McCoy. When they're handling something, they can handle it. And that's the biggest jump. Is it's not now like picking your time. It's like it is your time every single time. It's your time to be out there. It's your time to put yourself out there and be a little bit vulnerable in front of the team and everything that comes with that. Because if you're going to step out there, then you got to be doing everything right off the field as well.
What all does that look like? I mean, it's not just rah-rah, right?
No.
I mean, so what is organically, what do you need him to do so that it's not fake? I mean, can you kind of break down what that
Yeah,
looks
if
like?
he tried to start going raw right now, it wouldn't hit, because that's just not him, and he doesn't do that. But what he did, like he did it today, he didn't like something he saw, he called the guys up and said, hey, and he addressed it right now, and we moved on. Like, he's not gonna ever just start screaming and like throwing stuff, that's not him. But what he will do is step up and see something that he doesn't think is right, and he stepped in front of the group and addressed it in a way that fit him. It was assertive, but it wasn't anything that wasn't him.
When you when you made his production on the field, where do you think is the number one priority for him that you would like him to take the next step?
Yeah, I think for all of us, as an offense, is hitting the big plays when they present themselves. It's hard in this league to get big plays, and when they present themselves, you got to make them. You're never going to bat 1,000. You're not going to hit 100%, but we got to hit those at a higher clip this year. From O-line to quarterback to wideout to back to tight end, we've all got to step up, and we got to make those plays.
Casey and Patrick.
How do you feel that Jake is able to learn more from Nico now compared to last year at this time?
Yeah, I think when you first get here at this time, you're just trying to learn your job. You're just trying to learn, like, how do I go on the field and call this play correctly and get my eyes in the right spot so I don't look bad. That's like the classic freshman thing, is I just don't want to go out there and not do good. He's done with that. He's way past that now. So now he's taking the grasp of, man, what can I learn from how he plays, how he sees. They're talking through intricacies of a play. And yeah, we have our base rules, but okay, what about when this happens? How'd you see, like, you're seeing a ton of conversation between those two after every play, because the two of them have a really good working relationship together.
Joey, at wide receiver over the past couple of seasons, you guys have brought in talented freshmen that you've recruited, and maybe those guys haven't made a huge impact as freshmen. Now with the room the way it's looking now, you might need a Travis Smith, some of those guys to play a lot more. How do you expedite that process for them to get them to be a little bit more ready, and or do you get to a point where you just kind of throw them out there and there's the season and see how it goes?
Yeah, there's a little bit of both, right? No matter what a true freshman looks like going through spring and fall camp, you don't really know what you have until you get under the lights in front of 100,000 people. And now what's somebody going to act like? Both those guys are mature beyond their years that are here right now. They're playing really well. they have the physical traits that hold up, where they don't feel like they're gonna get broken when they step out on the field. So now it's our job to make sure that the learning process isn't what keeps them off the field. And then they have to go show that against elite competition, they can go make plays. It ends up being, you can know what to do, you can be in the right spot all the time, but if we throw a ball to you, are you gonna go make that play? And that's what the young guys are pressing to make sure they get themselves in that spot.
Eric and Brent.
A lot of change on the offensive line, 2 new transfers, of course, David Sanders. I know shoulder pads day 1 today, but what have you seen from that group here in the early stages?
Yeah, I've been pleased with what I've seen so far. It's one of the best things that's going on in that room is there's a ton of competition, like you said, but it's healthy competition. It's us all trying to work in the same direction, so the team is where it needs to be while everyone's fighting to get on the field. So there's a bunch of mixing and matching. Different guys are going with the 1s, 2s, 3s every single day, and it makes for a really fun camp when there's that much competition, especially at that, because that's what makes you go. And they've done a really good job the first 3 days.
When you did self-scout, you talked about making the plays that are there. When you did the self-scout as well, what did you take away from last year that is the bucket or the priority list, punch list, if you will, to really improve on now? And secondly, how beneficial is an extra set of eyes like a Seth Luttrell just being in the room with the experience that he has to help you?
Yeah, main thing we took away was we left a lot out there on the field. We had a lot of opportunities to go make big plays, and for whatever reason, from us on the sideline to the guys on the field, it didn't fall that way. That's a big part of what we've talked about is hitting those deep balls, hitting those big crossing routes at a high clip. Getting a guy like Seth in here, like whenever you have good football coaches in the building, man, that's a positive thing. So extra set of eyes that know what they're looking at, have been through it, have done it at a high level. Having those guys in the room, having those guys in the building is always a huge asset.
Adam Patrick Page.
Yeah, Mike Matthews obviously flashed a few times last year. What's the next step for him, and what does he need to be for Nico to help Nico?
Yeah, I think what you said is kind of my answer to the question. He flashed last year. He needs to go from a guy that's flashy to a guy that we can consistently, week in, week out. That's a guy you can target. It doesn't matter who they have on him. He's got the skill set. He's got the ability to go win. So for him, it's been about working to be really technical. He's getting his strength and his weight up. He's working at a really high level, which is allowing him to play at a high level right now. And that's one of the things from kind of like what I said with Jake. Your first year, a lot of times you're trying to just learn and do the right thing, and now you're getting into the detail of, okay, now I know what route to run. How do I run this best versus this look versus this look versus this look? What are my adjustments? And he can keep growing into a guy where between him and Nico, like, man, I know where my guy's going to be, and I can give him the ball.
So you talked a little bit about the offensive line, particularly those 2 transfers of Sam and Wendell. What did you guys like that you saw from them with their other stops, and how do you think they can come in and help you?
Yeah, bunch of guys that play football, one at a high level. Like, you know that the guys that they're playing against are real dudes, and they're guys that, you know, I don't know what all the stats are, but you didn't see them give up pressures. You saw them in the run game being able to physically move people. They're guys that can step in there right from the beginning if they end up on the field, and they will look like they're supposed to be out there on an SEC offensive line. They can think well, they can move well, they've got the size, the strength, they can hold up in the run game, they can hold up in the pass game, you can move bodies with them. So they're 2 guys that allow you to be really versatile on the offensive line with the plays that you can call either way to both guys.
With so much open competition and fresh faces across the field on offense, how do you maybe self-evaluate how those guys or position groups are reaching goals during spring practice?
Yeah, I think a lot of that with the young guys, especially the new face, whether they're a transfer or a freshman, is, you know, you got to take the first couple days with a grain of salt. Like, some guys will come flying out the gate because it's the same install they've been doing for a week, and now if you put something new on them and maybe they slow down a little bit, or vice versa, guys are a little slower and then they hit the ground running. So with any of the new faces, with any of the new guys, the biggest thing is just keep getting them on the field, keep getting reps with them, and you get a picture over time and not making a snapshot decision of, like, after 4 days, it's like, all right, that's the guy. It's like, man, you really don't know the answer to that question. They still haven't been out there in a scrimmage set with no coaches behind them, with no help, they're completely on their own. So all that, as we just keep working through spring, into summer, into fall, it's gonna kind of help shape what this unit looks like at the end.
Again, following up with that, I know you gotta wait and see, but what do you think you have in DeJuan Morris?
I think you got a guy that's got a chance to be a big play potential guy when he has the ball in his hand. He's shown flashes where he can put a foot in the ground and get north and south really quickly. He's got high end speed. He's got really good wiggle. So for him, again, it's gonna come down to, yeah, we know what you can do with the ball in your hands, but are you gonna, protect the quarterback when the ball's not in your hands? Are you gonna be in the right spot at the right time on pass plays and run plays? That you're gonna follow the right track, so we're not taking negatives on a play that should hit inside and you bounced it. So with young backs, a lot of times early, you see the flashes of what they can be, and for them getting on the field and contributing at a young age, it's all the stuff that maybe you don't see as much, that we gotta go and do a good job in film evaluation and practice, like, yeah, he's ready or he's not quite there yet.
Last one, Ryan.
For William Satterwhite, what does this offseason look like for him? And if he is a guy that earns a starting job, what gives you confidence you can do that at a high level?
Yeah, with Sad, big thing for him was just the size and strength of going from a freshman offensive lineman to now you're in your second year in the program and going and holding it up for 17 weeks on an SEC schedule. So that's first and foremost with the guys up front, is they have to be able to physically, not just survive, but physically dominate up front for 17 weeks. What gives you a ton of confidence about him is that he's a highly, highly intelligent guy. He was a guy that from the time he got here knew the calls, knew where he was supposed to go, could make the adjustments. It didn't seem like he was a true freshman out there mentally. And now that his physicality is matching up to that, you're excited about what he can do, replacing a guy like Cooper Mays out there at that position where you couldn't show Coop something he hadn't seen before. Now, he hasn't played that much ball, so I'm not saying it's the same thing, but you feel like he can get himself into that same place.